What's your personality? You need to figure out how can you create work that is going to allow you to have that energy whilst you're with your family. How do you find the perfect balance of personal life and work if you're going to be a very high income earner? You struggle with balancing personal life and earning a very high income. Well, today we're going to talk about that struggle and show you some of the tips that can help you have that right mindset and psychology so that you don't burn out and that you stay as an A player at top of your game. So yes, you are listening to the A Players podcast, the place where we talk about real life situations, where we talk about what it actually takes for you to become a leader in your field and increase your income as well. So let's talk about balance then. I don't like the word balance. Why is that? Well, this is because of who I am. You just listen to the A Players podcast and I get it, all right? Everyone isn't the same. Everybody isn't the same, okay? I am a very direct person. I am somebody who likes to give it all or nothing. And if I was to have a movie, then it would be some sort of 80s Rocky montage music movie where I'd get beaten up and get back up again, and there'd be loads of music playing, and that's my life. Yeah, I do that every morning, 5 a.m. I go, right, no shit, here we go. I'm taking my pre-workout. I'm getting on the assault bike. I'm getting onto the weights every morning, doing my journal, doing my power hour, and I will do it religiously. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Monday to Sunday. I have Sunday off, and I'm trying to get 2 days because my body needs to rest because that is part of the way it is. But I become a creature of habit very easy. I got this addictive personality where I've got to be all in. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because that's my personality, okay? It's not right and it's not wrong. It doesn't matter, but it's Lewis Haydon, right? Who are you? What's your personality? So understanding your personality, understanding your values, understanding how your psychology works is key here. So I'm not going to come onto this podcast and say, hey, look, you got to go and start meditating on a rock more, because that might work for someone. It doesn't work for me, right? You're on the A Players podcast. You're talking about making 100K. There's one thing certain is that you're going to need consistency, you're going to need resilience, and you're going to need a certain drive that is driving you all the time. Yeah. People's drivers say a lot about people's habits and the way they do things. Yeah. They're driven to do something for a reason. Finding that driver is key. So really finding the drivers is what we need to be speaking about on a podcast like this. But first of all, let's talk about, remove the word balance and start to say, how do I spend more time with doing the things that I know I should do, like family, right? Yeah. So really think about, why do you want to make more money in the first place? Yeah. Is it the amount of people that when I was a business coach, I used to work with a lot of people that say, hey, Lewis, I want to make more money. And I also want to spend more time with my family. And I also want to do this. And they list all their goals out. And I'm like, okay, so why don't you just stop work then? They're like, well, I've got to work because I've got to be there and I've got to do this and I've got to hustle and I've got to do this. I'm like, yeah, but your goals aren't aligned. How do you find a target that you can aim for that allows all those things to happen at once? So that's what we need to be speaking about today. What is your target? How do you find a target that allows you to make a very high income and find the balance, whatever that may mean to you? It could mean balance with family. It could be balance with loved ones or your partner, or it could be balance with friends, or it could be balance with more work or a project that you're doing. Your fitness, your sports, your mental space, your whatever it may be, right? You have got to find that balance. So everyone has got their own thing that they need to balance. Okay. Again, I don't like the word balance. I like to think of it as this is the way I am, and I'm going to do this stuff and stay consistent with it. Right? Is it about balance? I'm just like, no, it's about get shit done for me. Yeah. The balance comes just by doing the work. You see, I'm a big believer of that. People think, oh, I need balance because I need to stop working as much. No. Work is the balance. The goal isn't the outcome of all the work. The goal is to be doing that work. Does that make sense? Here's an example, right? When I've worked with people in the past and They said, "Oh, I want to retire at 50." Okay, what are you going to do when you retire? Well, I'll probably go and do more gardening. Work then. I'll probably go and play golf. Well, golf is a sport. It's work, right? You're just doing golf instead. So there's always an activity there. You're not just going to retire and become a statue. You'll do something. So why not get excited about the work that you're doing now? And if you're not excited about the work you're doing now, the goal should be to change the work that you want to do because you'll always be working. Does that make sense? The human body is meant to work. Any mammal is meant to work. A plant is meant to work. So get rid of the bullshit out of your head about work. And that will help with that balance thing. And that's why I don't like balance, because it's not work and life. It is, you've got to find out how to balance your psychology around it. It's not about work and life. What is wrong is the way you're thinking about work and life. That makes sense? So if you're going to be a very high income earner and also going to have lots of time with your family, then you need to figure out, how can you create work, not balance? How can you create work that is going to allow you to have that energy whilst you're with your family? Yeah. So here's the thing, right? What I've noticed in very high income earners, and bear in mind I've got a frigging doctorate degree in this, is that they are passionate about it all the time. They don't switch off. The challenge is when people criticize those that don't switch off. So for me, I never switch off. I'm always thinking about, I was driving, it was Bank Holiday Monday yesterday, and I was thinking about, oh man, there's a good podcast to do on this. And then I don't get my wife turning around and going, stop working. She's like, well, that would be really cool. Why don't you do that? Because I love my work. So there's another element, isn't there? Your life needs to be what you enjoy for work. It's just life at the end of the day. You know, there's 24 hours in the day. How are you spending that time? What about with friends and family and kids, etc.? Well, yeah, you've got to put that time in as well. And you've got to make sure that you're strict with your diary around it. But it doesn't mean I don't have to be who I am. Yeah. They still see, as I turn up to you today on this podcast, on YouTube, on Spotify, and iTunes, is how I am with the family. Yeah. I will be talking about all of this. The kids get excited about doing things and going out and seeing new stuff all the time. And I'll talk about it on the podcast. And, you know, this is life. So why do people get confused with this? Oh, I want to make a lot of money, but I also need to see my family and I need to balance this out. No. What the problem is here is that you're not energizing it right. Okay. You haven't positioned the right thing. And if you're working too much because you're needed out in the office more or doing whatever you may need to do, then you got to fix your shit, right? You got to fix it to then work out, how do you have both working? Yeah. The time that you spend there is just allocated time. If your time is running over in the office and you're not coming home to your family, your shit is broken. Yeah. Your shit is broken. And there's only one person that's allowing that to happen. Yeah. Not your business, not your boss, not your manager. Yeah. You have got a win-win agreement of how this happens, how this works. If your manager doesn't feel like they're winning, there needs to be a conversation of how they start to invest in more resource so it becomes a win-win, right? Or they could turn around, I'm not just going to be on your side now and not the manager. The manager could turn around and say, well, you know, maybe you should be a B player or an A player rather than a C player all the time. What does that mean? Well, it's a bit of a reality check and I can say to it, but HR would have a problem with it in your business. But there's the fucking reality check, right? If you were really winning, then you'll be able to have a team around you that is leveraged and achieving the outcomes that you want in the right time. So there's a problem within the business. Yeah. There's a problem within the culture that you're allowing people to not have the right time that's spent on it per day. And if you're not enjoying it, you're not in the right place. Okay. Now, take that with a pinch of salt, because you can have good days and bad days. And if you look for bad days more often, guess what? You'll find them. So the grass is always green on the other side. So you really got to make sure that it's not a state thing that is actually the challenge of why you're not enjoying it. Yeah, is it just because you had a bender over the weekend and you got hungover and you're still feeling it on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? You know, the way I filter this out is people say, "Oh, you know, happy hump day." If you say happy hump day in my business, then I'm like, fuck. In any of my businesses, happy hump day, I'm like, oh man, we've got a C player on our hands here. They don't love what they do. They're just waiting to get over the hill and then ride into the weekend straight away. Think of your mentality. It's not right. It's not right. So, how do you do it then? How do you find the perfect balance of personal life and work if you're going to be a very high income earner? Is that you've really got to think about your psychology around it. Yeah, these are the challenges that people face. What is your psychology around how you perceive work and how you perceive the word balance and how do you perceive life if that's what it is that you're doing? So I've shared some stories today. Have a think about it. What are you going to do to start to think about how you can restructure this? If you're not enjoying it and something is not right and you're feeling down about it, think about what it means to be down. Look at the worst case scenario, depression. What is depression? Here's my statement on depression because I used to suffer from depression. Well, suffer from depression, but here's what I mean about that. I see depression as a state. I'm in a depressed state. Okay. Why am I in a depressed state? First of all, depressed state. Depressed state means that it's just how I am at the moment because something has happened to cause it, right? It doesn't mean I have a disease. I haven't got depression. I am just feeling depressive. Yeah. I'm feeling depression, not I have depression. The amount of people that I see like take this label of depression and stroke it like a little fucking kitten, like it's their pet, and they carry around this pet kitten of depression around with them. And they go, "Oh, it's my depression. It's my depression. It's my depression." Look, okay, you may be clinically diagnosed with depression. Different situation. Well, is it really? I'm going to say, there you go, right? Because I used to be in that situation as well, so I have the T-shirt for it too. But what started to happen for me of how I moved away from it is that I started to recognize what depression actually is. It's the feeling that something is out there that is better, but I'm not achieving it. So what would you do if you knew there was something better for you and you wasn't achieve it? Well, you could either complain about it, you'd sit there moaning about it, or you can go and do something about it. Because remember, the reason you're in the state of depression, is because of the shit that's happened before it. And you caused that to happen. You caused that to happen. Nobody else. Change the mentality around it. Stop blaming others. Start taking ownership of it. Thank you for listening to the podcast so far. A quick reminder that the A Players podcast and community remains free. The reason we do this podcast is because I believe that a great question to ask is, what advice would you give your younger self? For me, I wish I had a guide that showed me the exact steps to reach 100k a year in any job and how much my life would be accelerated if I'd cut through that noise and just focused on those steps. We do not run ads or endorse sponsors because it is our mission to give back and share with you, the listener, knowledge gained from working with highly successful individuals and extensive research in management science so that everyone has access to tools that can accelerate their income and give them the opportunity to step into wealth. In line with allowing us to achieve that mission, we ask that you think about, how did you end up on this podcast today? Maybe it was through finding it on YouTube or Spotify or word of mouth. So please help feed forward by subscribing to the podcast and also share this podcast with another leader like you that you feel this podcast could really help out in helping them increase their personal income too. Let's get back to the show. Now, if you want to get back into that idea of the personal life and the balance, then start to think about here. How do you start to take things like the situation I've just given you around depression? People can say other ideas and other things that's stopping you from getting this right balance, okay? You've got to make sure that you're doing the things you're happy. Forget everything. Just ask yourself, are you happy? Are you happy? Check in every 90 minutes. Set an alarm on your phone. Happy alarm. Am I happy? Am I happy? No, I'm not happy right now. Or what's caused it? Yeah? Something in your work has caused it. Okay? Log it. Fuck it off. Carry on. Because it's a state. Doesn't matter. Understand states, understand traits. At the start of this, I told you about traits. I have an energetic, I'm very direct, I have a certain approach, certain values that make me me. I don't want to change them. What I do want to change is how I work with them. You have one thumbprint. That thumbprint is unique. You one unique thumbprint that everyone in the world does not have. So out of 7 billion, 8 billion people, only you have that thumbprint. Yeah? That makes you you. How you work with you is what the key is here. So how do you handle balance and how do you handle a very high income shouldn't be a question, because the happier you are, the more that income will come. The more you're feeling shit about yourself and feeling like a victim and saying that you've got depression and they say you've got all these problems with you is what's holding you back. So how can you move forward to a place where you know there's a lot more you're capable of, but you're still feeling like shit all the time because you're holding a little kitten on your shoulder, stroking it all the time, saying, "Oh, it's my depression." That is the reason why you're not moving forward. So you've got to cut it out. You've got to stop thinking, "Oh, well, I need balance." "Oh, Lewis, you seem to be working all the time." Yeah, well, it's what I fucking love. I love doing this. I love talking to you guys on the podcast. I love investing in firms. I love learning more. I love reading. Yeah. It's endless. That's why. It's endless. And as long as I keep learning and keep growing, the more I can serve more people. And the more I can have that life that I want to live. Well, I have got the life I want to live. Always have. Yeah. Because I see every step as the journey. Now, here's another lesson I can share as well, is that you've got to be optimistic. And people think of optimism as something that you look into the future, right? Optimism isn't just about the future. There's some lessons from psychology, is that optimism is also about how you reflect on the past, the learnings from the past. Did it happen to you? Or did it happen because of you? Yeah. Well, if it happened because of you, then you can take ownership of it to make sure it doesn't happen again. Makes sense? But looking at back of it and going, think about a breakup, think about a relationship breakup. People can dwell over it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But if you look at it and go, okay, well, what did this person teach me? I'll just make sure I don't find a dickhead like that again in the future. You see what I mean? Yeah. It could be any sort of relationship. It could be a business relationship. It could be a company you used to work for or a company you do work for, right? What is this company teaching me right now that I really need to see, right? As long as you know where you're going, point 3, understand your direction of travel. Yeah. Understand where you're going, and having that level of optimism will not only show you the stuff that you'll need to be optimistic for the future, but the stuff that's happened in your past. You go, that stuff happened to lead me to where I am today, which is going to lead me where I'm going to get to. Step 4, also think about these 3 things, okay? You can either live in the past, the present, or the future, right? Think about how you start to, as a percentage ratio, where you are right now. Are you being present with everything that you do? Okay? Because if you're present, you're more happier. No matter where you are in the world, there you are. Okay? That's a good saying for you. No matter where you are in the world, there you are. You're present. You're right in the right moment. You're right where you have to be right now to make the difference. Because if you live in the future, here's what happens. 1, you're never present. Okay? If you're never present, you can't do anything about it. So if you're always living in the future, then you can't take ownership of what you're doing right now because you think something better might come. Okay? 2, if you're living in the future as well, you become very distant, you become very angry, you become very upset because you're not there yet, right? You want to achieve something and you're not there yet. But like I said before, I think it might be in this episode or the previous episode, work is the goal is the actual work. Okay? It was this episode. The goal is the actual work. If you do the actual work, then you're being present. Yeah. If you're always chasing the goal, guess what? After 100K, you'll want 200K, $250,000. Yeah. So for me, it was like get to 100K. And then it was like get to $250,000. Then it was get to $1 million. It doesn't matter. That is just a scorecard, right? What is actual key is being present and just being happy in what you do, right? I love this work that I do. That's the goal. I am playing out the goal, right? So thinking in the future too much can be a problem. Thinking in the past is also a problem because this is the danger part, right? Thinking in the past all the time is I've known people that just can't get over stuff that's happened to them in the past. Yeah. They are thinking, and even 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years on, they're saying, if this hadn't happened to me, then I would not be here. I would be doing something else and my life would be different because of something that happened in the past, because of somebody. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And here's why. You have the chance now to change your future by making a total different change today. Okay. If you want more balance, and if you want better work, and if you want better home life, then you've got the opportunity to do that, whatever. And it starts from within. You can just make a decision right now. Yeah. I'm going to stop listening to that shit around me. I'm going to stop reading the newspaper. I'm going to stop watching the news. And I'm now going to focus on my happiness. Yeah. I'm going to focus on me. You want to reach 100K, 200K, quarter of a million, whatever it may be, then you can make a decision today. I'm going to start doing that. Doesn't mean you need to change jobs. What it does mean is that you need to reflecting differently about your psychology, about what you've been through so far and the situation you're in and what you're going to do about it. See, this stuff, by the way, is called Adlerian psychology. Okay? Freudian psychology is what's taught in a lot of universities. It's what's taught in a lot of different books that you see. Freudian psychology is looking at the past. Lie down on the couch. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your parents. Look for a problem. What's that problem? Let's talk about that problem. Let's try and fix that problem. Yeah? It's in the past. How can you fix a problem that's in the past? Well, you can. You can actually change the way you rethink it. But let me tell you, that doesn't change the past. It changes the present and the future. So if you want to really talk about stuff about how you can make a difference today in your future, Adlerian psychology is what we need to be looking at. Adlerian psychology works on the premise that you will do something today and that your past does not determine your future. It does in an element of it because it's taught you a lot of lessons. So what I'm saying here is that the percentage ratio, 10% learnings from the past, yeah? You need to know where you're going, 20% in the future, because if you don't have a plan and you don't have a direction to travel, you'll just travel anywhere. A bit like jumping in the car and saying to the sat nav, where do you want to go today? Just take me anywhere. I'm going to try and drive to North America. We're not knowing what North looks like. Yeah, it's crazy. So we need to have some parts of ourselves in the future as well. So 10% in the past, 20% in the future, 70% in the here and now. Okay. Smash a like button if you resonate with that, by the way. Yeah. Smash a like or drop a comment or a review if that resonates with you. Because I want to hear back from you. I want to see that this is resonating and working. So if you're more present, then none of this sort of balance stuff really matters, right? You will be on a journey to a higher income. You will be on a journey to better happiness, more time with family. Yeah. As long as you have that 20% focus of this is what you're working towards and you're on that fucking journey and you're enjoying it. You are doing the work. You are living the goal. The goal of changing to the work may be that you need to change that work style, right? Doesn't mean you need to change jobs again. It just means you need to have a win-win conversation with your manager, like we speak about in all the previous A Players episodes, to say, hey, look, this is what I think would add a lot of value to the firm and make a lot of money and also make me happy and allow me to grow as well. What do you think? And they might turn around and go, no, fuck you. And you go, okay, what would be a win for you then? Because I'm not happy, so I'm losing. And if I'm losing, you're losing. How do we make it a win-win? See, I teach all this stuff as well in the A Players podcast and the 100K Club. So if you want to learn about how to do that and increase your income, then sign up to the subscription model of the 100K Club. The link is in the show notes. So how does that fit with what you have in mind then? Are you clear on what balance actually means? Reframe it and start to figure out how you can start to utilize your values and your energy to make it work for you more, right? Because there's only you with that unique thumbprint. This has been my own personal perspective of achieving my goal, which is to be here today and doing what I do today and investing in firms and having them grow and run without me. Yeah. You're on a journey too. It may be to be the best doctor. It may be be the head teacher. It may be to be the best electrician in the world. It may be to be an entrepreneur and own lots of businesses and firms that pay you lots of money. The list goes on, right? If I could sit down with every one of you and speak about your strategy and your goals, I would. And if you would like to have that opportunity to speak just a little bit more, then drop me a connection on LinkedIn and let's speak on there. Drop me a DM and a connection on there. But look, just make sure that you're doing the right stuff and don't listen to other people talk about balance. Do your thing. Do your life and do your work, which is your goal. Yeah. Your life now and your work is your goal. Yeah. Just make sure you live in your goal. Make sure you're in the right moment. Yeah. You're thinking about the future, that 20%. Be like driving a car. Yeah. 10% in the rear view mirror. You got to know that sat nav 20% of where you're going. But what's in front of you is the present. So if it wasn't like that, you'd be in a lot of trouble, wouldn't you? So why do you go through life differently? Share your views on this because everyone's got different perspectives on it. Drop the comment below in YouTube or on Spotify and let me know what you think. What have you done to make sure that you're getting the right balance of life and very high income at the same time? Be great.